Hey guys, welcome back to the channel Custom Carving and Epoxy UK. Just to get straight into it, this video, it's going to be the ocean waves technique again because I want to get it right. And I'm doing a big risk today because if you've probably not seen my previous video, but this is a burnt wood charcuterie board that I made. And I absolutely love the sort of almost alligator scaling created just from burning the wood, and this actually took me about 3 days to make, all in, and it was probably my first real resin project, if I'm being honest. But I thought, do you know what, I've had it up in my living room for the best part of 3 or 4 months since I made it, and I thought this would look really cool with this gloss finish with some waves going across it, almost like a burnt beach where there's been a volcano that's erupted and then there's going to be some waves, hopefully covering about this much. I don't want it to cover too much, but I want maybe from sort of here up to there, and I have already taped the underside because I don't want to muck around with sanding, hopefully. So I've got 4 little pots ready. I'm not going to mix anywhere near as much resin as I did last time. Probably, I'm thinking about 4 ounces should be enough to do this board, and I wasn't that impressed with that ocean paste, ocean sea wave pigment paste that I got from Temu, so I'm actually going to try the ocean white from Let's Resin because let's face it, it's called ocean white, it should be able to do it. So I'm going to try that this time and see what that comes out like. So if that's what you're into, I'm going to get gloved up, get some PPE on, and get some resin mixed, and then we'll go straight into it. So here we go, guys, and this is a bit of a risk for me because, as I say, I spent 3 days of hard labour crafting this charcuterie board, coating it in resin, getting that lovely burnt wood effect. But I just think it would look so amazing having a sea coming maybe about halfway across it. So I've been thinking about it for a while, and obviously I attempted the ocean waves effect in the last video, a few videos ago, but it didn't turn out quite the way I wanted. So whether it's the right thing to do, risking it on a project of this size, I don't know, but with no risk there's no reward, as they say. So I'm just going to fill these probably about halfway initially, because last time I had so much resin left over, and that's why I've only mixed up literally 4 ounces. And this piece is probably, the amount I'm going to be covering is probably 3 or 4 times the size of those last 2 pieces. So you don't need a lot of resin for this, guys, and that's one of the keys. Again, I've not got tabletop resin, but it seemed to have worked okay last time with this T-Expert 1-to-1 resin. So I'm going to use the same again. All I've done is just put it in my bubble removal machine, and it should be ready. And I don't really need much of the white. It's mainly going to be the sort of blues that are going to make up the main colours. So I'm going to go from dark to light. So for the dark, I'm using this metallic blue, which I got from Temu. No particular brand, it's just resin art pigment paste. And I could have done without putting my stick in there. Never mind, I have got another one. It's not started well. So again, just going to stir the pigment paste around in the pot, and whatever's left on the pot will be what I use. And it is quite a thick concentrated paste, but I'm happy with that. I think that'll be enough. So that's going to be my darkest colour. And as you can see, I'm very limited on space, guys, so bear that in mind. I wish I had like an 8-foot workshop that I could work in. Second colour is going to be this blue mica, which is again quite a deep shade, but not quite as dark as that dark blue metallic. And it's great when you get a scoop that doesn't even fit in the pot. But again, I want it quite concentrated, so I'm putting a decent amount in each pot, and I have put greaseproof paper underneath my workstation just because these are the messier experiments, and it's just so much easier to peel it off the greaseproof paper and then reuse it in another project. And then for the next one, I'm going to be using this slightly lighter blue mica, which looks like I haven't even opened this one, but I'm sure this was very similar to the one that I used in the last project, but there we go. And just tapping it in, getting a decent amount of the blue in, because I want it to be mainly blue. Like that. And then I'm going to add a little bit of green to create my own sort of aquamarine colour. Don't be afraid to mix up your micas, guys. Because by mixing them up, you make your own colours, you make your pieces unique to you. Again, not too much of the green, just a tinge, just to hopefully create a nice sort of aquamarine colour. And then I've just found this glittery sparkle as well, which I'm going to put a touch in this one. It's almost a chameleon effect, I think. Not too much, just so there's a little sparkle going through, and we'll see what those colours look like. And then for the white this time, I'm just going to use the ocean white from Resin. I thought it's called ocean white, let's give it a go. And I'm going to put 2 drops in because I want it to be reasonably opaque for this, because I want it to spread. And I'm just hoping that this will create a few more cells than the last paste that I tried. But I don't know, to be honest, because I mainly use that in my blooms. But it is called ocean white, and I've done some research, and according to them, you can use it to make waves. So we'll have a look and see if we come out with a better effect. So just wiping my gloves. So this is the deepest, darkest blue. So that is the depths of the sea, I suppose. As dark as it's going to get, almost as dark as that black actually. So it's going to be a really nice contrast, I think, the blues against the black. And as I say, my vision is a desert island where there's been a volcano, it's erupted and it's covered everything in lava basically. But the sea's still splashing onto the coast. So that's the look I'm going for. Whether I get it or not, sort of the matter. And whenever you put the powder on the top, guys, just be really gentle at the start, otherwise you're just going to get a cloud of powder going everywhere with micas. And you want to make sure that your colours are really well mixed. That's a beautiful blue actually, that one. And again, it's very different. So that's 2 very different shades of blue. And I'm just praying that this is going to work. And then this is hopefully going to create an aquamarine colour, which was a blue and a green mixed together. Look at that. Beautiful. And let me know in comments, guys, if you think it's going to work. And do me a favour, if you haven't, like and subscribe to the channel. Apparently only sort of 20% of the people that watch these videos are actually subscribed. So if you were all subscribed, it would do the channel a massive favour. So take 2 seconds now, hit that button, subscribe. If you're watching on the telly, just log in on your phone for me. It'll take you 2 seconds. And it basically means that I can keep creating crazy content like this. So this is that ocean white. And I say it's a little bit more concentrated than what I use for my blooms. It's a little bit more opaque because I've done those 2 drops. And we'll find out if it works in a minute. So I'm just trying to create some space. And this is the daunting part for me, where I could ruin 3 days of work, what I spent making this charcuterie board, by doing this. But I want to experiment, I want to keep growing, I want to keep learning, and the only way to do that is to just get in and do it. So here we go. First colour, and I'm going to pour it kind of at an angle, so hopefully you'll see what I mean in a minute, where I want it sort of going like sort of this, giving it a natural sort of wavy texture. And I don't mind it going over the edge at all, or not, depending on what it wants to do. And there might not be enough there, but we'll find out in a minute. So that is my first colour. Done. And it is going around the sides nicely. I'm just going to spread it around a little bit with the stick, just to judge it. And I have got a spare bit of white if I need it, but I just want to, as I say, judge the layer, because it doesn't need to be a thick layer either for this, guys. It just needs to cover the piece. And again, when I add in those other colours in a minute, I'm going to be blending them a little bit, so that will give me a bit of blending around the sides. Probably doesn't help that this piece, this charcuterie board, even though it's finished, it wasn't fully even, so there's a few bumps and a few ridges on it, but actually I don't think that'll matter in the grand scheme of things, and I think it helps add to the natural effect. And as with anything with resin, it will self-level anyway, but I just want to get enough on here so that I can actually see that beautiful colour, and I'm reasonably happy with that coverage wise, because I've still got 2 more colours to go. So this is the lighter blue, and I don't mind them blending a little bit. So again, I'm going to start off at the edge and just come in a little bit like that, and then pour the rest of it over there. And you see what I mean, guys, how I wasn't that concerned, because there's a lot more resin going on the piece. And I get to use the great finger dom again in this experiment. So that's that one. And then the final colour I'm going to use is that aquamarine colour that we've just made. And again, starting at the edge and just bringing it across like so. And again, I don't mind a bit of it going through there, because you'll see why in a second. So they're my blues. Now what I need to do is get them to a point where I'm happy with those before I try and create those waves. So this is where the wonderful finger dom comes into play. First time I got these in a package, I was like, what are these for? But this is exactly the sort of project where they're really useful for. So I'm just literally going to blend those colours into each other using my finger, nothing else. Just literally blending them in. It's also going to help them over the side a little bit, because I don't mind if it does cover there over the sides. If it doesn't, it doesn't, and I'm not too fussed if it just stays on the top, to be honest. But as you can see, I'm just using my finger, bringing some of the darkness through, bringing some of the lightness through like this, and that's basically my plan, is to just mix up these colours. No particular way, using my finger, and if it has gone down the side like it has here, I am just going to help it by sort of using my finger and just coating it. I did tape the underside as well, so hopefully that's going to help with any sanding that might be needed. But again, I'm just going around that edge. I can't even see that edge, and I can't get my head around there to see it because of how small my workstation is. I just want to make sure I've got a bit on that edge to give it a bit of colour. Reasonably happy at the minute with the way this is looking. It's not perfect yet, but again, this is just blending those colours together. Most of the dark is on the outside now, and most of that lighter is on the front, but it's just kind of blending them all together. Almost in a wave-like motion, I suppose. And then I tend to go back around it with the circles. And you'll never know what it's going to look like until it fully cures anyway, guys. This is just to try and, as I say, blend those colours in a little bit. And this is the way that I did it last time, and it looked really good. So hopefully it will this time. And so those 3 different shades of blue. And that is essentially my ocean now. So I think we're ready for the waves. Now what I am going to do before I put those waves in, just let this settle for a second, and I'm going to take the finger dom off. And that can come off, and then just clean my gloves. But I do like the way that looks, and as I say, as the resin continues to settle, they'll all intermix a little bit more. In fact, what I am going to do is just quickly use my heat gun on a low setting and just blend them a little bit. Literally just going around them. It's on a low heat setting. It's also popping those bubbles at the same time. And there we have it. So it also just slightly heats up that resin a little bit as well. Happy with that. So that is essentially my ocean now on this piece. So what I want to do before I pour the white is you just want a clear layer separating, and it helps the white push over the blue. So I'm just going to put a clear layer in front of where I've already poured the colours. And I'm going to wipe that off in a minute. I've just seen a patch. So literally just in front of where I've poured my ocean. I just want a thin, clear layer like that. And it just creates that bit of separation. Also helps your white just skim over your ocean. So that is my white layer. The clear layer, sorry. And all this time the white has probably still been thickening up a little bit, which will actually help, hopefully. He says. And this is only my second attempt at doing this, guys, so again I'm just hoping it goes right. Here we go. So this is my white, and you don't need a lot of this, guys. You just need a thin line, so you're better off using your stick than you are pouring, I found. So I'm just going to use my stick and try and get an even line in front and slightly on top of that clear layer. It's going to need a little bit more than this, but in fact I am going to pour. I'm just going to try and do it really slowly and get a really thin line from the cup. And that's pretty much going to be my white line. And I am going to try and put a second wave in straight away as well. So I'm just going to go over there like that. Now you can leave it to cure and do your second layer as well then if you want to. I just like the look of doing them both in one, if I'm being completely honest. So I'm just going to let that sit for a second and just touch up any areas where I think I might want to spread it a little bit further. There we go. And as you can see, I've still got plenty spare of those, so they're going to be going in one of my spare drip molds. And I'm reasonably happy with the way this is looking now. So now it's the fun part. It's getting the heat gun. Again, I want it on a low setting, and initially I'm just going to try and sort of heat the resin a little bit. And I'm just changing the nozzle because I don't want it too warm. I just want it warm enough to hopefully heat the resin. And then I'm just going to, again, go over this bit that I've just done, just to get rid of any bubbles. And again, I'm just heating it through at this point. There's no angle, nothing like that. And now I've heated it up, I'm going to go at a slight 45-degree angle like this and start pushing it back. And it gives you quite a wishy-washy wave effect, this does, the ocean white. So yeah, I'm not overly keen on that. I can see me coming back and doing the paste again, I think, because I'm not overly happy with that. In fact, I've got some spare resin, so I'm gonna just mix it. I don't like that at all, but I'm not gonna scrape it because I don't think it'll actually impact the overall effect of the waves. But if you look, there's no cells whatsoever happening in that, which is not what I wanted, and it's not very white, interestingly. So what I'm going to do is I got more cells from using that other paste, so I'm going to use this again, because as I say, I've got some clear white, some clear left, so there's no harm in just getting a piece of this on my stick. Again, not too thick, but enough to tint that resin. And then what I'm going to do is actually add some silicone oil, and that should also help it create some cells. So again, whatever I've got left in this cup is what I'm mixing. Not the most scientific way, I know, sorry guys, because I just really don't like that. For me, that's not the effect I was going for. So again, just mixing it around, and already that's a much whiter colour. And then I've got my silicone oil at the side here, and I'm just going to put a drop of the silicone oil in, and that should naturally help it create cells anyway, and hopefully give me the effect I'm looking for. So again, with this, I've already got that layer on there, so all I'm going to do is just drip this straight on top of the white that I've just done. Because as I say, I'm just really not happy with the look of those waves, and for me it's just not thick enough. So it'd be interesting to see actually what impact the silicone oil has on this. Come on. I think it should, if nothing else, help create a few more cells. And just a thin bit there, I think. And that is quite a lot of white, guys. But I do want you to be able to see the waves. So you can see actually where I've just dabbed the silicone oil in the blues as well. But I'm not too fussed about that. If it does create more cells on the piece, then I'll just have a very celly piece. So again, I'm just going to heat it through, just to warm it up, and then see what this does. Hopefully it'll have a really cool effect. Again, just warming it through, and then off we go. Already I'm preferring that. And look at the cells it's actually making. So the silicone oil is making a real difference there. So again, if you're struggling with your cells, guys, it could be another way to do it. Just add some silicone oil. And now I'm just shaking it from side to side to try and give it a bit of a ripple effect, and we'll see. Shouldn't really go back over it once you've gone over it once, but it's my piece. And interestingly, now I've gone back over it, most of those cells seem to have gone. But I think that's enough playing for this layer. And then what I can do is come back tomorrow and do another layer. But am I happy with it? Not really. So I'm just going to torch it now and see if that creates any more cells to activate in this white. Again, not too much, but just going over it to see if that has any difference. And it's also popping the bubbles, guys. So I can see me coming back tomorrow, I think, putting another layer on, because again, for me, it's not really the effect I wanted. It's okay. Does it still look like the ocean? Yes. But was it the look I wanted? Probably not. In fact, I'm going to do one more pass and just see if that helps it or not. And this is where you're all telling me to stop whilst I'm ahead. But it was just when I went over it that second time, all of those cells seemed to sort of vanish. And I do want some cells in those waves, because I think that's what makes it look a little bit more natural and real. So again, I don't think I put enough white down. And I think that's why it didn't spread as far as I'd wanted it to, or hoped it would. So it's either going to be third time lucky or scrape the lot. Here we go. And I'm happy with that, he says. Again, just going to do a thin one at the back as well, which is where I wanted that sort of second wave to just come across. And you want to try and keep it on the surface, really. We will see. That might be a bit too much. Here we go. In fact, let me just wipe those drips off as well, because I'm not happy with those being there. Where have I put my wipes? So I'm just going to wipe those off whilst I can with a baby wipe. And let me know what you think in comments, guys. Is this going to work or not? That is the question. So this is the last attempt. Again, I want it on a low. I'm just going to heat it through first, like so, and this layer as well, and then just heat the resin at the back of it as well. I don't think it will hurt. And now I'm going to lay it at an angle and hopefully get some more of those cells created. See, that's looking better. That's looking a bit better. Not quite the way I wanted it, but it's okay now. So that's definitely creating more cells, and I do like that, except for that pit there. Much better effect, I think, with those cells. But again, it's just that patch there I'm not happy with. And possibly at the end here as well, I'm not too keen on that. So again, I'm just going to try it again, putting another little bit just in those areas, and then I'm probably going to come back around this center as well, just to create a stronger line of white and separation, if that makes sense. So I don't mind it being really deep along here, because that's where for me the wave is starting. And then I'm just going to trickle this along that edge to give me hopefully a more crisp sort of white finish where the waves are hopefully frothing and starting. Again, I don't want too much, but I do want to be able to separate where the waves are starting and where they're ending. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Now what I am going to do is just use my wipe and try and put that shape back in that I wanted. So it's reasonably crisp. Like that. And then I'm just going to, again, wipe off any excess. Again, if I can get away with it, I don't actually want it dripping the wipe too much down the sides. And then I'm just going to blow that bit out there because I'm happy with these cells and there. It's just this bit I wasn't happy with, so I'm just going to blow that out again. Don't know. Don't know if I'm happy with that or not. But I think the problem is I've pushed too far back now. But what I'm going to try and do to just fix that, because that's the only bit I'm not really happy with. So, there we go. That's already better. And now it's just whether I choose to put another layer on it or not tomorrow. But I do like that. I think that's looking lovely. I think it's got enough cells in there to make it look like the ocean, but not too many, if that makes sense. So, yeah, I'm just going to leave that to cure now and see what it looks like once it's cured tomorrow. And we'll either have something that looks lovely or we'll have a blobby mess, but I like it. I think it looks like the ocean, and I think you can tinker with things too much. Again, just going to go over it with my torch, get rid of any bubbles that might be on there. I don't think it's going to create any more cells at this point, but I like that. And then what I might do tomorrow is just put another clear wave on it. Let me know what you think in comments, guys, but I think for me it's a success. I'm just going to pour all of my spare resin now into my drip mould, and we'll have a look at this tomorrow when it cures. So guys, it is the next day and I've decided I'm not going to put another layer on this. I like it just the way it is. For me, there's enough cells in that foam that it looks natural, and I think you can spoil it by going too far and putting too many layers on. Absolutely loving this. I think they're my best waves yet. Even love the way it drips over the side. So let me know what you think in comments. Loving that little sparkle as well coming through in the ocean. I think these for me are the best waves I've had yet. So next time I do waves, I will be using the silicone oil again. So let me know what you think in comments, guys. And if you've liked it, like and subscribe to the channel. And if you've not seen how I created the original charcuterie board, with this sort of burnt wood alligator scale effect, go back through the videos and have a look at that one. And apart from that, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one.